Hello everyone and welcome back to another Cookalong. Today I'm going to share with you a very special recipe. It's one of my absolute favourites and it's going to be my last ever Cookalong. So I thought I'd treat you all to the best homemade chips in the world, according to me anyway. So it's so simple. All you need are 3 ingredients. That's all you need to make these beautiful chips. Crispy on the outside, fluffy on the inside. They really are a perfect treat. And I will just show you how to make it right now. And here we have our ingredients. Now, these 3 things are all you need. We have the wonderful potato. So these are Maris Piper potatoes. And these get particularly crispy. They're known for getting very crispy when you roast them. So that's what we'll be doing. We have oil, so you could use olive oil. This is just vegetable oil. And salt to your taste. So that is all you essentially need to make these chips. Over here, I have just some optional extras to give a little bit more flavour. We have this wonderful rosemary, which I picked from the ELHAP garden. And I've got 3 cloves of garlic. And that is all we will need. So shall we get the show on the road? I think so. So first of all, let's preheat our oven. I'm going to go with 210 degrees. That's what I'm going to go for. Here we go. So you do want your oven nice and hot. I've turned on the wrong oven, which is always a good sign. So 210 degrees, which is there. And next, we are going to boil some water. So the best thing about these chips is that they're fluffy on the inside and they are crispy on the outside. But in order for them to get fluffy on the inside, we just need to pre-cook them a little bit. So I'm just going to fill this up with water, just enough to boil our potatoes in. And that should be just fine. There we go. So I'm going to put those in. Boil. So next I'm going to wash my hands. Soap here. Wash my hands. Nice and thoroughly. We are going to be touching the food. Just going to dry them now. Right, so we are going to just give these potatoes a little scrub. I quite like chips with skin on. So that's what we're going to do today. But if you like your chips with skin off, of course, have them with skin off. You can just peel the potato. I'll dry my hands a bit more. So now, first we're going to chop our potatoes into sort of chip size. So again, because we're using a knife, we're going to make sure that we are supervised when you're cutting with anything sharp. So please make sure that you have supervision. So I'm going to cut my potato in half. And then maybe we'll go half again. So half again. It's a lovely chips. Like so. So there's 4 lovely chips already. So half. And half again. So that should be enough, really, for one person. So we're going to have enough for 2 here. So half and half again. So a great way of cutting chips is just by having a bridge, make a bridge, cut through the middle of that bridge. There we go. So I think because those 2 potatoes were smaller, we will have 1 more potato. Or maybe not. You know what? I think this is enough. This is enough. Yeah, we'll go with this amount. So the water is just about to be boiled. We'll wait for that to boil. What we'll do is we'll place the boiling water. Gotta be really careful here because obviously it's extremely hot. Into our saucepan. There we go. That is definitely enough water. There we have it. And I'm just going to turn on the heat. So I'm going to turn it relatively high. So I'll put it on 5 out of 6. I've got it on 5. And then we're going to really carefully, and I mean really carefully, push the chips into the pan. Obviously it's going to splash, so you have to be super careful. I'm standing nice and far away from the pan. So have to be really careful here. In those go. Now, if you want, and this is again optional, you can add a little bit of salt here, because that will season the potatoes. So add a little bit of salt in there. And also, so what we're going to do is we're going to wait for those potatoes to cook. Now, it's very hard to know how long they will take, because it really depends on how chunky you cut your chips. But I think the potatoes will be in there for about 15 minutes. And we will check this by getting a little fork and scraping on the outside and seeing if it becomes fluffy. So obviously not now, but once it's kind of cooked a little bit more, I will show you what to do. And look, we are pretty much, we've done all the hard bits now. This is the hard bit done. So yes, I will, once that water starts boiling, we'll tune back in. And then we'll go from there. Righty ho, so they've been in there for about just over 15 minutes now. Bubbling away, blipping away. So I think it's time we got them out. So, I'm just gonna get my colander up here. Oh, almost a colander. Bit of a struggle to get there eventually. Got the colander, so I'm just going to put it in the sink, turn off the heat, and drain the potatoes. Nice and carefully drain the potatoes. Now, a very important step is just letting these steam away. So, because you want to get them nice and dry. So that's really, really important that we get them nice and dry. So in the meantime, what I'll do, I'll put this baking tray into the oven just to get it warm. So I'm going to cover my hands. I've got a tea towel here, but you can also use an oven glove. I'm going to put that into the oven, like so. So these are going to be steaming away, so you want to get all the liquid off them. Give them a good shake. And these are going to be really, really hot, so please do not touch these for a while. They are going to be very, very hot. So I'm going to come back to these in about 5 minutes, and they'd have steamed away. They'll be nice and dry, and then we can work with them and put them in the oven, ready for stage 2. Right, so the potatoes have cooled down. It's been about 5 minutes. So, and they're nice and dry, which is very, very important if we want to get them nice and crispy. So, I shall take the baking tray very carefully, because it's hot, out of the oven. So, obviously try and get your parent or carer to handle all the hot stuff. Now, I'm going to add some oil to the pan. I'm going to go for 2 tablespoons, like so. And we're going to get our lovely potatoes, and we're going to very carefully place them, very, very carefully place them into the oil, like so. And now it's just a case of, I'm going to get one of these and just giving it a little mix round. So I'm going to use this to hold the tray, and I'm going to just turn the oil so it's nicely coated in the potato. You might have to be a little bit delicate, sort of not like me, just to make sure that the potatoes don't crack. But to be honest, sometimes those smaller bits actually end up being the nicest bits. So there we go, get it nice and covered, like so. And now all we need to do is just very carefully line these potatoes up so they have a nice amount of space in the pan. So you want to give them a little bit of room to breathe. So be careful here. I'm going to use my hands. They're just about okay, but please be careful. Now I'm just going to coat like so. There we go. Be careful not to touch the pan. And there we have it. Our chips are ready to go in. So all we're going to do is just dust them very slightly with salt. Very, very slightly. And that's all we need to do. And we'll come back to this once I put it in. We'll come back to this in about 20 minutes time. In that goes. So it's 210 degrees. And we'll come back to it in 20 minutes time. So, the chips have been in for half an hour. They're looking excellent. So I am going to very carefully take them out. Ooh, that is very warm. Very carefully take them out. Stick them there. They're looking fantastic. But I want them to be just that touch crispier. So this is optional. You certainly don't have to. So I'm just going to scrape the chips. So this is optional. We are going to add just a little bit more oil, just to add that extra crispiness. And then we're going to add our rosemary in. So we're going to just dip it in the oil very, very carefully. I'm just going to brush the chips with the rosemary. And same with this one, I'm just going to rub the rosemary in that oil very, very carefully. And I'm just going to brush it on our chips. So we're going to very carefully do this. So do be careful, it's very, very hot. So we're going to try not to use our hands like me. Just going to brush like so. There we go. And try and get that lovely rosemary flavour. And we've got the garlic here as well. We're just going to rub that in the oil and have that ready and raring to go from when we get it out. So there we go. And that's all we need. So we're going to try and flip these chips as well, actually. So I'm going to use these little tongs. I'm just going to flip. And I can just already feel how crispy they are. I mean, I am talking very, very crispy. You can sort of hear, can't you, just how crispy these are. They're going to be absolutely delicious. Oh, dearie me. Just going to turn all these wonderful chippy chips around. Like so, get them nice and coated in that new oil. Very excited. And then they're just going to go back in for essentially as long as you would like in terms of crispiness. So I like mine very crispy. So I think these will have another 10 minutes or so. But look, these are perfectly good to go. You could just have them right now. They'd be absolutely wonderful. But I'm just going to go for a little bit longer. Just a tiny bit longer and get them insanely crispy. So that's good to go. And in they go. So turn the heat down a little bit at this point. So I'm going to turn it down to 180 and we're going to let that sit. So now it's just important that we sort of keep half an eye on it. So check in every couple minutes to make sure that it's at the level of crispiness that you want. So it's almost time, very, very exciting. Righty-ho, it's been an extra 15 minutes, so let's get these out. I've got my glove on here, it's gonna be very hot. And I can just smell the rosemary and the garlic. I'm gonna turn the heat off now. And if you just look, and you can just hear the sizzle. And you can just see, I don't even need to touch these, but I just know how crispy they are. But I'm just going to show you how crispy they are. It's a good noise. It's the perfect noise you want. You can just sort of tell, can't you? Right, so it's important that we let these cool down because they are incredibly hot. And also we have our garlic here, which we will take out. Bowl here. Just going to take this garlic out. Give it a good old squeeze. So it's going to take the garlic out and we'll use that on our lovely chips. So yeah, now we just wait for a little bit. Wait for about 5 minutes. Be patient. We just want these to crisp right up. And of course, we don't want to have a scalding hot mouth of potato. But if you just look at the colour, the beautiful colour of these chips. And remember, other than the garlic and rosemary, which are definitely optional, it's only 3 ingredients: the potatoes, the salt and the oil. And look what we have. Wow. I am mighty, and I mean mighty excited to eat these chips. Very, very, very excited. So yeah, let's wait just for 5 minutes and we will come back just so it's all cooled down. Right here, it's been 5 minutes. So I'm going to get my chopping board. I've got the garlic here. The garlic should have cooled down by now. What I'm going to do is squeeze, oh look at that. Squeeze the garlic out like so. So we've got lovely roasted garlic here. And that is going to really boost the flavour. So I'm just going to get my knife and very gently chop this garlic like so. And this is just going to add a beautiful garlicky flavour to our potatoes. Now of course, if you don't like garlic, you can skip this bit. It's just to your taste really. But I absolutely love garlic, especially with potatoes. So I'm going to keep that in. Now, here are wonderful chips. So I'm just going to get a bowl, like so. And just very carefully making sure that it's not too hot. Just adding my chips to the bowl. Oh, I'm so excited for these. Look at the colour. Look at the colour. And we are just going to plate up our wonderful, wonderful chips, like so. Oh, they really are a thing of beauty. And that'll be enough for one portion, certainly. And we're just going to top it with our roasted garlic, like so. Just very carefully sprinkle that garlic on, like so. Give it a little spread onto the chips. Give it that lovely garlicky flavour, which I love. But of course, as I said, if you don't like garlic, you leave that out. So there we have the beautiful garlic. And I personally think that by adding the salt with the water, you don't need to add any more salt. But you do possibly want some pepper. But there we have it. Wonderful homemade chips. And you can just, let me get a fork. So you can just hear, I'll get one of these as an example, you can just hear how crispy these are. And you just know that they're going to be great. And these bits here, these little crispy bits here, are some of my favourite bits. Not particularly healthy for you, but absolutely delicious. And there we have it. Beautiful homemade chips. Yum, yum. Thank you so much for joining me today on the Cookalong. I hope you enjoyed it. It's very, very simple to make, and obviously you can use these chips for anything, in terms of maybe you might want to share them with burgers. You might want to have your chips with a bit of fish. That's the best thing about chips. They can go with absolutely anything. So this is the last ever Cookalong, so thank you for joining me over the past couple of weeks. I hope you enjoy the recipes. They are some of my absolute favourites. And it really, really well done for getting involved. I will see you guys soon. Bye.